give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach him how to fish, you feed him for life. But under this market system, if you teach a man how to fish, can you sell him any more fish? And if you cannot sell him any more fish, how will you make a profit?
Poor people pursue money. Rich people pursue things. Wealthy people pursue purpose. So I started pursuing purpose. Then I figured it out. Poor people spend money. Rich people buy things. Wealthy people grow money. So I said, I wanted to grow money. Then I figured it out. Poor people talk about money all the time. Rich people talk about things that they have. But wealthy people talk about ideas.
Family, welcome back. I want to thank you for continuing to tune in. I just finished the series on Vibes Cartel and wow, I am so happy that's over because in many ways the topics sometimes divide us, and I'm so glad that the last one unites us. And people, I'm going to start a new series now, and this one is about how to handle big money, yeah, because we've seen it over the years. Many people make big money and in no time end up broke.
No! No!
It was Benjamin Franklin who said, "Tell me and I'll forget. Teach me and I will remember. Involve me and I will learn." So as you can see, I have on my plantation hat today, and I am also in my library, meaning that Jamkian is about to teach his class. For you new subscribers and viewers, when you see I put on my plantation hat, it's not to say I'm trying to be a plantation owner. I am just saying that classroom is in session and the topic will be about how to handle big money because the Bible says money answered all things. Was that too much? Okay. I have lost some money. I have gained some money. But based on my experience and my understanding, I believe I earn some credibility to discuss such topic. But before I get in the topic, let me put out this disclaimer because I don't want anyone to accuse me of giving false information, misinformation, and wrong information. I am not a financial advisor, nor neither am I an analyst. I am just a humble person who have gained some knowledge over the years and find it valid and very important to share it with those who are interested to hear a different point of view. I hope this information will enlighten you, and I hope you will tell others to come and tune in. Once again, thank you for being a part of Jamcan's session. Welcome, and let's right into the teachings. How often do you see or hear people come into some big money via becoming a star or winning the lottery, get inheritance, or maybe sell some illegal medicines, and in no time they lose it all? The problem is not the fact that they cannot retain the money. The issue is they were not taught how to handle big money. The good book says, train up the child the way he or she should grow, and when they get old, they will not depart. Remember what the good book says. It said train up the child, meaning that you should train the child. It didn't mean that the school should train the child, because the school trained the child how to become a worker. You as a parent ought to train the child how to become an investor. In short, how to manage money.
Now, children are exposed to education if their parents are wise and healthy, i.e. if their parents are wise men and wise women, children get educated. If they're not, they get indoctrinated. There's a big difference. Our education system teaches people what to think, not how to think. If you study the history of our education system, Ken Wilber goes into this quite deeply if you want a resource. Our education system is still the exact system that was developed by warlords and plantation owners to control slaves. It was developed specifically to keep the kids busy so they could get more works out of the slaves, and to train the children not to be creative, not to think for themselves, and to follow orders.
People, the formative years of any human being is the most important. That's between the age of 1 to about 8 years old. This is where the brain soaks up things like a sponge, and this is where your belief system and your foundation is somewhat cemented. At this point in your life, this is where you should be educated or you are indoctrinated. As you just watched in the video, the school system is designed by warlords, slave masters, and religious institutions. They indoctrinate us not to become critical thinkers. We are educated to become workers and to be passive and not to challenge authority. People, there are two ways we're taught in schools, predominantly one. The first one is a pedagogical teaching. This is where the majority of us goes to school. You get the curriculum, you get the lessons, you're taught to study it, then regurgitate the information, then you get a grade, a A, a B, a C, or so forth. If you get like D and F, then they say you're not smart. You're the stupid ones. But what that does, it kills your confidence. And you think that you're less than your peers, because your peers are good in absorbing dictation, but you might not be. But how the system is designed to say that those students who get the A's and B's and the ones who get C's and D's like me, you're not smart. You're supposed to be the labor force. The other way we're taught, that we should be taught, is Socratic teaching. And Socratic teaching comes from the Grecian philosopher called Socrates, meaning that it's critical reason. You need to have a hands-on approach. You need to question authority. You need to ask questions. You need to gain wisdom. The school system doesn't teach us that. They don't want that kind of thinker, because that thinker challenges orthodoxy. It challenges authority. And what happens is that it questions power. For the way power hold on to control is by controlling the mind. As Sun Tzu says in The Art of War, the frontier of war is the control of the human mind. So if I control the way you think in the formative years, I can have what you call a permanent or a perpetual slave or a worker who will just follow orders. In short, the pedagogical education teaches us to be workers, not creators or owners or masters. Some of you might be saying, what the hell is Jamkin talking about? He's talking about how to handle big money, and he's going to a whole theoretical concept of this and that. True. You see, if I just talk about what you should do with your money, then you won't learn. I have to give you the foundation and a better understanding of how our brain have been programmed to spend money, save money, but not to invest or manage money. So this is why I'm giving maybe what you call a chronological understanding of the said topic, which is how to handle big money. Yeah, I feel like a bit smart, chronological. Pardon me, people. I didn't take my meds, but it's okay.
Black people's brains have been hardwired where we connect happiness to spending. We have to disconnect the wire in our brain from happiness and spending and take it from happiness to saving and happiness to investing. Do you know that rich people stay rich because they pretend to be poor? And poor people stay poor because they pretend to be rich. We spend money. We literally are trying to buy respect, and we go broke trying to look rich. So when the math is done, I was talking to a brother in our barbershop one day, and I was telling him that when you have enough on the inside, you don't need the stuff on the outside to make you feel like you are something. And the brother, look, he verified the position. He said, you know what? I'm gonna tell you the truth. Me and my guys was out. We went to out of town, and we was on our way to go to the club. And whenever we started getting dressed, my partner realized that he had left his jewelry. And the minute that he seen that he didn't have his jewelry, I noticed that he got sad. And he didn't even go with us. Next day, I went down to the counter at the hotel room, and he was opening up a package. He had somebody overnight his jewelry to them. And when he grabbed the jewelry out, he took his watch, his chain, and put it on and told me, hey, I'm back. But he never went nowhere. Problem is that he felt a sense of worth from what he put on the outside of himself. But the real sense of worth doesn't come from the jewel you put on your finger, your wrist, or your necklace. The real sense of worth comes from the jewel you put in your mind with knowledge, wisdom, understanding, discipline, and character.
Now, people, I want you to take a look at two books here that I got when I was a boy in, I would say, primary school. I grew up in Jamaica. And this is the only information we got on money. One is the Red Book, NCB, and as you can see, I cover my account number for the scammers. So all you scammers who are looking, it ain't going to happen. And this is my Blue Book from Jamaica National. Yeah. Now, when we open up this bank account, we were taught in school that we should open up a savings account. Not an investment account. We were taught to open up a savings account. Now, I want to show you something why the majority of us will always be poor. If you take a keen look in this book here, I blocked out the black part just to have some private information there. But I circled right here. The most important thing in this book is the interest area. And if you can look, I deposited $19,000 in the account and I got only $10, $10 interest. And over here, you can see the government fees taken out, $10 interest. The most important part of opening up an account is the interest I gain on my investments. If you look at this other book from Jamaica National, if you take a look, there's no area for interest, and interest was never given in this book, no interest. It's just debit and credit and balance, no interest. Now, the reason why I show these books is that we are programmed to deposit our money in our savings account. When we do that, the banks take our money and invest our money in, we'll say, the stock market on big mega projects, and they make tons of money off interest. We're taught to deposit in the banks invest your money, and you get almost point something interest. There's no way you can survive with that. So what happens is that we've been taught in our early years that we should save our money. We're never taught to invest our money. So there's no way in hell you could ever come out of poverty. Because you make money by the interest you make and the money you invest. As the Bible states that if you have a talent, you need to multiply your talent. The talent also means that the money you invest. But if we are not taught to invest money and we're only taught to save money, how the hell in God's name will ever get out of poverty when inflation is rising and your dollar buying power is reducing? There's no way you can dig out of this hole. But this is what they say is education. I think I should call it trickation. Trickation? Yeah, that's a new word, trickation.
They had the nerve, the audacity to let black folks suffer for 460 years. And at the end of the civil rights movement, rather than going back and saying, let's find out what has happened to black folk for 460 years. Have they been psychologically, emotionally, politically, educationally damaged? Nobody spent 1 minute of time trying to figure out what had happened to black folk over all that period of time. So in the course of the civil rights movement, at the end of it, they say, well, let's pretend that nothing has happened to them, that they were not injured, they were not hurt. And now let's go seek integration and pretend that we're all equal. Now that was grossly unfair, because by that point in time, in about the 1966 period, whites had become economic giants in America. They own and control everything at that point in time. Black folk didn't own anything. Whites control almost 100% of all the wealth, the income, the privileges, the businesses, the resources, and all levels of government. Blacks had nothing. Blacks were 1-foot midgets. And they allowed us then to use integration to walk from our communities, from our ghettos over in their communities, totally disarmed, not understanding anything, blind, naked, and then saying that you can go and compete. Compete with what?
This is why I said that if you don't get proper mentorship, if you don't hang around smart people or educated people, you will for sure, guaranteed, be in poverty. This is also why I said that it is not wise to give the poor money. It is very important to educate them. Look at a country like Jamaica and other small countries. The government, without a doubt, can give free university education to lift the people up, but they won't. Because if they educate the masses and also give them land redistribution, then what happens? The people can think and the people will become self-sufficient. Keep in mind, when you keep the masses ignorant or indoctrinate them, you maintain a perpetual flow of cheap labor. And profit comes from human labor. So the ones who are on top of the hierarchy, they will always stay rich because all the labor force that's pumping at the bottom, all the benefits from that goes to the top. So the system is designed to maintain the status of the few. That is why the Bible says, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach him how to fish, you feed him for life. But under this market system, if you teach a man how to fish, can you sell him any more fish? And if you cannot sell him any more fish, how will you make a profit? You're trying to think, how does that link up to handling big money? I'm getting to the point. But if you don't understand the dynamics and the nuances and the interconnectedness of the money, then you will never be able to hang on to money. So like I said, if you have no one to teach you how to handle money, I guarantee you will end up poor. This is why you have to align yourself with smarter people to get to that goal.
Poor people pursue money. Rich people pursue things. Wealthy people pursue purpose.
If you look around you and everything that is built around you, someone disrupt the norm. If you look at the house and cars and everything that man puts together, remember, he didn't create anything. He just realized that he can put things together and no man say, I am smart. No, everything was here before. But what happened for the comfort and benefits for us, we disrupt the norm and we create cars and we create planes and we create all of those stuff. Remember, those are the disruptors, the creative thinkers, the hands-on people. If you look at many of you rich people in the world, those are the ones who are not formally educated in school. They just hire the educated class to work and maintain their power. They are the creative thinkers. They are the disruptors. Those are the ones who pivot from the norm. Keep in mind, when they were disrupting, people said, they're crazy, you're mad. Who can fly? Man cannot fly, but the Wright brothers in 1909 flew. Doesn't mean electric car. Who can create electric car? Well, Tesla, the first creator who died years ago, and now you have Elon Musk create a Tesla car that run off battery. Now, I've learned in my life that if you want to be successful, you must break rules, not laws. You must disrupt the norm. And when you disrupt the norm, just like I'm disrupting your thinking, people laugh at you and say, you're crazy. Are you guys laughing at me? I'm a little bit not up there, but don't laugh at me. I'm just trying to articulate a point of how to handle big money. You get the gist? Yeah. I want some big money to handle. Tired of small money.
There's 233 independent nations on the earth. Out of the 233 independent nations, black people at $1.3 trillion are the 8th richest nation in the world. Yet, we don't have anything in our community that we can call our own. So by the simple fact that we're the 8th richest nation on the earth and we don't have our own educational system, don't feed ourselves, grow our own food, is a sign that we got dollars, but we need some sense. So I said we blame the white man for 95% of our problems, but we still spend 97% of our money with them. We do have $1.3 trillion in money. That's income though, and that's not wealth. So when the math is calculated, black people only possess less than 2% of the wealth of the United States of America. Income and wealth are two different concepts. Income is the money you earn by exchange of your time or the sale of a good product or service. But wealth is when you exchange that money for something that either keeps value or increases in value over time. Black people, we are the leaders in unnecessary spending. We buy stuff we don't need from people that we don't like to impress people we don't know. And at the end of the math of the equation, we end up having nothing but a whole bunch of name brand stuff, but never businesses that we can pass down to our children or real estate that increases or keeps its value over time. So we've got income, but we don't have the wealth. That's why I said we've got dollars, but we need some sense. Out of that $1.3 trillion, do you know that we spend $23 billion a year on clothes, $11 billion a year on furniture, $3.2 billion on keeping up with the latest cell phone that came out, $46 billion on cars, $60 billion on legal and illegal drugs, $32 billion dressing up the outside of our head. But when it comes to dressing up the inside of our mind, which is the purchase of books, only 300 million is purchased in books. My people are destroyed from a lack of knowledge. So we should be investing more in the building up of the mind and building up of our character, getting the sense that we need to go with those dollars so that when we marry our wealth with some wisdom, we can actually leave something behind for our children and our children's children that they can call their own.
You can ask this question. Why is the education system designed to say dumb us down or to keep us poor? Well, we live in a capitalist system. And if you watch one of my videos talk about they were moving from slavery / colonialism to capitalism, is that if you produce so many goods and there's no consumers, what happens is that you have overproduction and price fall and you lose money. So it's better to free the people and don't give them land. Give them sports, entertainment, alcohol, sex and religion, and everything is good. Just keep them busy. Because as long as they have no land, they have to go and sell their labor at a price, and you will make a profit. One of capitalism's fundamental principle is to kill its competition. Kill its competition out of the box. So what happens is that if I want a perpetual flow of profit and to maintain my power, I have to kill competition. So I have to design an education system that teaches the students to go work for money, not to create. You get the point? Because if I can get in the formative years and the subconscious to say to that person, you need to get A's and B's so you can get a good JOB, then what happens then, my work is done. Because that pupil will believe what I just told him or her and will carry that on to the next generation. That means they will teach their children and their children. But if you look at who control the power, it's a few families. And the few families pass that information down to the next one and maintain that hegemony. As the Bible says, a wise man leaves inheritance for his children. I never got no inheritance. I had to read a lot of books to gain some knowledge. And because I gain it, I find it is just useful to pass it on to many like you. And me know me chatting too much, but me cry full. And because I have a full heart with information, it's only wise to pass it on. Knowledge not shared is basically useless.